everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and another episode of A&J Reviews, which means you know who my guest is, the star of the show, the A and A&J Reviews, my nephew, Aiden. What's going on, buddy? You are a silly guy. What's going on, man?
Good.
Yeah? Are you excited to talk about more Star Wars stuff? Yeah? You excited to talk about the Mandalorian? Your Luke figure? Yeah. So, yeah, we had GT Key in here early waiting for us to go live, as is my friend John. Says this is the best Star Wars review show on YouTube. That's because of you, buddy.
Because of Derpy Luke.
Because of Derpy Luke.
His face
All
is
right.
so derpy and disgusting.
Okay. All right. Well, let's not talk about Derpy Luke. Let's talk about The Mandalorian. So, what did you think of, just in big terms, general, how much did you like the first two episodes of The Mandalorian so far?
They were pretty good. They explained a lot of the culture of the Mandalore.
Yeah, you liked a lot of the background on Mandalore?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Anything else stand out from these first two episodes before we get into the details?
No.
No? I thought they were, I agree. I thought they were pretty good. A little slow, I think, particularly the first episode. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, overall, a lot of good setup for the rest of the season. So excited to see where it goes. All right. So let's talk a little bit about episode 1. So we get the beginning of episode 1. We get to see, I forget what they call her, but the forger who makes a helmet for a kid who's getting ready to take the oath. What did you think of the whole scene where he's taking the oath and putting his helmet on the first time?
I thought it was the Mandalorian himself as a kid. But
you thought it was at first?
Yeah, I thought him. But then, like, after I noticed that, I noticed, that can't be right. You know that, big, bulky guy with that costume?
Yeah.
That protected him? If that was Mandalorian, he'd be way younger. Because Mandalorian and him are the same age.
I think they said. I don't know if people were saying online that it's actually his kid that was taking the oath. So, although I don't know if that was confirmed or not, but that was what people were saying, is it was actually his son. But yeah, at first you thought maybe she was making the helmet for him until you saw the helmet was different. It was a little different style, different design. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be normally because his head's smaller, not bigger?
Well, yeah, so that's what I wonder about. If they can never take the helmet off, and they give it to him when he's because he wasn't much older than you are now, and your head's going to be bigger. Doesn't he need? They're going to have to make him a new helmet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird about that. But overall, did you think it was kind of cool to see somebody taking the oath and putting the helmet on and stuff?
Yeah. Well, he didn't technically take the oath because
got interrupted. Yeah. So, what did you think of the dragon, crocodile, turtle creature that came up and that they fought in that whole fight scene?
I call it Godzilla.
You call it Godzilla? He had a shell though.
Or the Mosasaurus or Turtlezilla or
Turtle. I think Turtlezilla is a good one. I think that's
Flash Gamera. Gamera is like a turtle thingy that shoots out a beam. That's a Japanese culture.
Well, I don't think it shot a beam, but it was definitely like a turtle dinosaur or something.
Turtlesaurs.
Yeah, giant helmet I would need a giant helmet. But so, did you think that was a fun action scene to kind of kick off the season? Yeah. Anything about it that stands out that you want to talk about, or are you good on that? We'll move on.
I like the detail, the texture, the teeth.
Of the monster?
Spikes, the shell.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't like that it had to die.
Yeah, you didn't like that it had to die?
Too glorious to die.
I was going to say, they've had some pretty good monsters on this show, like some big dragon kind of monsters. What was it, the monster they fought in, season 1 or season 2 that was on Tatooine?
I'm thinking of, the thing from the ice planet from the very, very, very first episode, from the first season on the ice. There's that, thing under the ice that's breaking.
Oh, yeah.
And he has to escape, and, the thing grabs on, but he escapes somehow.
Yeah. I remember that. That's for sure. So I was thinking more of a very similar to the Crate Dragon from Tatooine that they fought. They gave the smaller but a similar kind of monster. But yeah, so very cool. All right. So after that, we see him sort of go to the lady who makes all the armor and start his quest for redemption. So what did you think about this scene? I'm going to ask the question from the standpoint of we kind of already saw him do this in those episodes in Boba Fett. Like, she already told him what he had to do. What did you think about them revisiting that for the season?
They could have just went back and rewatched the Boba Fett episodes instead of re-saying it. It's like the second time they've said it, second for something like that.
I felt like that was the weakness of. I felt like a lot of this first episode was a little bit of retelling without retelling the stuff that they did in the Boba Fett crossover where they had him on the Boba Fett show. And that was because maybe trying to keep people in the loop in case they hadn't watched Boba Fett is really what I think it was about. But did it bother you that they redid that, or were you fine with it?
That was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was just retold.
Yeah.
Just noticed that.
Yeah. I just think for me, it slowed the show down a little bit in that first episode is what I thought. But, okay. So, let's see. So, basically, after he leaves, we see they're flying through hyperspace. What did you think of the scene with Grogu and the weird creatures while Grogu was looking at and while they were flying through hyperspace? They were like in the shadows, or did you notice that?
Oh yeah, that looked like a whale. That looked like a space whale.
Yeah, so do you remember where they referenced those before? Didn't they have those like the hyperspace whale things and like wasn't that in Rebels that they showed those things or whatever?
I thought New Hope for some reason.
Well, I thought it was in Rebels. It's not in the New Hope, which is the first movie, but
Darby Luke's movie.
Yeah. So yeah. So do you think that was kind of a cool touch? I don't know if they're gonna. Hopefully they'll go somewhere with those. But yeah, it was interesting to have Grogu like see those through while they're flying through hyperspace.
Can I say it? Like it's kind of like more forward in this episode. It's like where like when they're in like going to what is it called again? Cyberspace. What is it?
Hyperspace.
Hyperspace. When they're going through that, like what was it? Like I forgot. Wait. Mandalorian was teaching Grogu the buttons and all that stuff.
Teaching Grogu about.
I thought that was a cool detail.
Yeah, he was teaching him how to navigate, and that becomes important pretty quick, doesn't it? Yeah, so he's trying to show him like more than just, all the things he's going to need to survive without him eventually. So, because Grogu's going to live for a long time. Because if he's same species as Yoda lived for 900 years. So he's got to get him educated. So after that, they go back to Navarro and their old friend, and they try to like fix the droid. What did you think about the whole side plot of them trying to fix the droid?
I feel like it's kind of dumb.
So
because don't they know it's a destructive bot and the memory circuit is like broken?
Well, that was the whole thing. Like, and I felt like it was kind of a waste because right at the start of episode 2, he just like they set that up. This whole thing, he's going to try to like fix this droid, and he's got to go find a memory card. And then at the start of episode 2, they just drop that. Like, did that annoy you?
And like when he gets turned on, he has to get destroyed again, which makes it even harder for himself. When the other droid pushes the statue of him down, he's like even more broken than he already was. Why even try making it if you don't have the right materials?
Yeah. So what did you think about the little guys that were trying to fix the droid? Like they took him to try to fix him. What did you think of those little characters?
To me, they look like small people. They're brown.
Yeah.
They have big, bulky black eyes that have free hairs, like whiskers.
Yeah.
Like a cat or a dog.
Yeah. So do you think
they have like a mustache?
Did you think they were fun, or did you think they were just kind of silly?
Fun.
Okay.
And silly.
Yeah, fun and silly, but you enjoyed them in the design and that they had them in there. Okay. Yeah. So they had appeared like that species had appeared. I think I forget now. What was it? The last one, The Rise of Skywalker or whatever. I think the last movie they appeared in too. think that's the only other time they've shown that species.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It was also funny to see Yoda hug.
Grogu
like
trying
so
to think.
small,
Because Grogu's normally the one that everyone's like, oh, you're like a pet and you're like little, and like everyone does that to him, and he was trying to do that to somebody else.
That's even smaller.
Yeah, that was even smaller than him, for sure. Other thing, so what did you think about the whole little plot with the pirates and that he had to fight? What did you think about the pirates?
They're annoying brats.
They're annoying brats? Yeah.
They're just like, I want your drink here because this was an old bar. So
give
me a goddamn drink. It's like he is so strong because he's a pirate. Pirates are not trustful, first off, and they're kind of weak, really.
They were pretty weak, yeah. Yeah, and it felt
even their boss is not smart.
Yeah.
But Mandalorian just went straight past him with hyperspace. Literally, he's dumb.
So, are you hoping? So, I feel like they just set them up just to give an antagonist of some sort, since they don't have like Moff Gideon at the moment. Are you excited to see more of the pirates, or are you like, yeah, let's just stick to the Mandalore stuff?
Let's just stick to the Mandalore. The pirates are annoying.
Yeah, you didn't like the pirates then. What did you think of the design of the captain, like the green, glowy? Like, what did you think of the captain as an alien? What did you think of his design?
He's just Mother Nature, but
looks a little bit like Swamp Thing or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, like from DC, the Swamp Thing.
Yeah, the swamp creature. Yeah, a little bit of the Swamp Thing going on.
Even though it looks more like a tree than a swamp thing because his like entire body is like shaped like a tree trunk.
Yeah. So you weren't a big fan of the pirates. Let's see what else happened in that first episode.
The boss is dumb.
Flip through my pages sticking together. So we end with him going to seek help from Bo-Katan. What did you think of like his discussion with Bo-Katan? What did you think about that at the end?
Well, Mandalorian always he can't rely on himself. He really needs like other people to help him when he's like a Mandalorian. Yeah. Mandalorian's kind of solo.
Yeah.
And like I feel like he could do a lot better. He needs to train that dark saber man.
Yeah, he needs to train. We'll talk about that in episode 2 for sure. When we get,
I'm gonna fall.
Yeah, we'll get to the dark saber here in a minute. But what did you think about their conversation? Is because she's very much like when he claimed the dark saber in season 2, it kind of destroyed all her plans. Like she lost all her followers. Yet she seems to have kind of given up at this point when he goes to visit her. What did you think about like just their conversation and where she's at?
Well, gotta say this. She's pretty cranky.
She's pretty cranky, yeah. Bo-Katan, I feel like that's a defining feature of her over the years. And she is kind of always pretty cranky. So.
All I want is like a kid. I want this sword toy. I don't get it. Now I'm cranky and all that stuff. That's the toy is the dark saber. Someone else has the dark saber, and now she's jealous.
Yeah.
And she probably was happy when she used it against that crab thingy majigua technology.
She knows it's seen as kind of like a sign of whoever has it is kind of seen as a leader. So she knows she kind of needs it to like rally people to her. But ultimately, despite kind of her cranky attitude, she actually tells him where to go and tries and once again helps him at the end of that episode. So
yeah.
So what do you think of Bo-Katan just as a character?
Well,
do you like her? Do you not? What do you think?
In between.
You're not sure? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's some good parts of her, but there's some too cranky parts, especially for a grown-up.
Yeah. Is she behaving? So you would never, like, if your sister's playing with a toy that you want to play with and you can't have it right now, you would never get cranky, right? No. All right.
Never.
I'll ask your mom if you and have her hold you to that.
She doesn't use my stuff.
She doesn't use your
touch
stuff.
a whole thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I just spot it, and I'm like, I know my sister is using my stuff. So.
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about from episode 1? That kind of brings us through episode 1. I don't feel like a lot really important happens in episode 1. What about you? Is there anything in there that you really stand out?
Not the important stuff. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
We talked about this pre-show, but you enjoyed episode 2 a lot more. Why?
Yeah. What's it called? At the end, the monster.
At the end, okay, yeah. And for those watching, we are full spoilers. So yeah. So.
The storytelling about Bo-Katan's parents.
Yeah, getting to hear some more of the background on Mandalore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, wasn't it? Yeah, the crab fighting was last episode, right?
No, that was no. They fought the little mechanical guy in this episode, in the second episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in the second episode. So you enjoyed that.
Yeah. All right. Good, I guess. That was good, I guess.
Yeah. So, so we get into second episode. So this is the part that annoyed me right off the bat. Is he goes to his friend on Tatooine to get a part for the droid because he must fix IG-11, and then she's just like, "Here, take this droid," and he's like, "Okay." Did that seem odd to you? Did you not?
Yeah, he's way smarter than just taking a droid. Couldn't he just shut the ship down and say like, "This droid, I don't want it"?
Well, yeah, but that's been his whole thing, through all the seasons, since he doesn't trust droids, and yet, so the whole reason he wanted IG-11 was because it was the one droid he'd found to be trustworthy after they reprogrammed it, and yet he just gives up on that and takes the other droid. Did that seem odd to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
IG-11's better.
IG-11's better.
But not better than R2-D2 or C-3PO.
So, but he takes him and he goes back to Mandalore. What did you think of just the design of the storm clouds kind of covering the sky, and then just the way the surface? What did you think of the design for Mandalore? How they did it, having been destroyed?
Liked it, and I was surprised that the ship didn't get too cranked with the pressure of all those bombs and the air. Well, the air is fine, but wouldn't you feel like going through that storm would break the ship a lot?
Well, I mean, it rattles it, but just going through it shouldn't break it necessarily. But yeah, it did buffet it quite a bit, as they were going through. So it made you question for a moment whether or not they could get through.
Because there's lightning, kind of was yeah.
So, but first thing we see, they get to Mandalore, and he sends the droid out, but he has to go out to find him. And we see that there are actually, despite what they've been saying, there are other things that are still alive on Mandalore, because he immediately, of course, it gets attacked by some creatures. What did you think of these? What did she call them? The Allanite or whatever?
Allanite, yeah, they're disgusting.
Yeah, you thought they were kind of weird looking, gross looking?
Yeah, the green eyes.
Yeah, you didn't like the green eyes?
Something actually cool, not too disgusting, threatening, because they were kind of threatening. They only had a hammer really as a weapon.
Yeah.
And Mandalorian had all sorts of things. He had a knife in his pocket. He had the Darksaber.
So let's talk about the Darksaber.
Blaster.
He still sucks. Why? So why do you think he struggles to use the Darksaber so much?
He's better with combat.
Well, yeah, but because when he uses it, it's super heavy, right? But we've never seen that effect with anybody else using a lightsaber. And we see later in the episode, Bo-Katan picks it up, and she can use it just fine. So why do you think do you have any idea why you think he struggles so much with the Darksaber?
I think it's still with his he's better with combat with his hands or something.
You think he just doesn't know what he's doing? Is that yeah? Okay.
He's better. I gotta admit, he's good at combat with his hands. Blasters, just not lightsabers. They're not his thing.
Not his thing. You think it's just not his thing. You don't think there's some extra meaning to the fact that he struggles with it so much.
He doesn't have anything wrong with his suit.
No.
Unless there's something to do if you're not a Mandalorian anymore, you're not worthy. Like the hammer, like in 4, only 4 can pick it up.
Well, I guess maybe he's not worthy.
Like that, that situation.
I guess that's a possibility. I'm just curious. It does seem like they've went out of their way to make it seem like, because we saw like in season 2, Moff Gideon could wield the saber. It was no big deal. We've seen Bo-Katan wield the saber, no big deal. Yet he struggles with it. I feel like there's something they're going to tell us there. All right, put the toy away. Yeah. So, all right. So he and Grogu, they find that the air is breathable, and they descend down into the city. So I have a question about this. As they drop down into the city, what did you think of the show at this point? Because it gets super dark. Did it bother you? Could you feel like you could tell everything that was going on? Did you mind that it was super dark when it was like?
I could tell because it's like a cave kind of thing.
So it didn't bother you? You didn't think it was too dark?
No, I didn't think it was too dark.
Okay. I was curious because it is. I'd heard people complain that it was like, why the show went like where you couldn't really tell what was going on, and that it got too dark, that they should have had a little more light. It didn't bother you though?
Yeah, like when they first were walking like to the, like the final thing, like to the waters, the mines. When they're walking near, there was light. You could see them walking down.
Yeah. So you thought it was okay? All right.
I think people just don't have better eyesight.
You think it's just people with bad eyesight? Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think of the little crab creature that like captures them? What did you think of the robot thing? You talked about it earlier.
It's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has so much backup plans. It's like, if you don't kill this thing, you'll rule this planet one day, maybe. Because it has like so much backup, it could...
You know that guy?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's my cousin. Oh,
yeah.
My dad, yeah.
All right. So what did you, because you had all the different backups and all the different machines. So the only thing that kind of annoyed me about him is that we got no indication of really what he was or what he was trying to accomplish. Did that bother you, or do you just think it was a fun action scene?
So could you say it again? Explain it more a little bit?
So like the little robot guy that had all the different, like he had the big spider thing and the little robot, and that they fought. Did it bother you that they didn't explain like what he was doing or what he was trying to accomplish, or did it just a fun?
They could have explained it like a teensy, but that'd be like narrator stuff, really.
Yeah, so you didn't need that.
To fit some couple clips in, but that'd be narrator stuff, really. I wouldn't see anyone that know what happened to it. It's probably a one-thing species, really. I don't think there's another one of those slug eyeball thingies.
Yeah. So you were okay with it just being kind of a fun action sequence.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but we get to see when he gets captured that him teaching Grogu earlier, and you talked about it, that he was showing him where the different planets were, and he showed him where Bo-Katan's planet was. That we see Grogu actually was paying attention and did learn because he goes and gets help.
Yeah.
What did you think of that whole scene? What do you think of Grogu's pod? Because he could fly way up through the city and could do I don't know his pod could do all that kind of stuff. That's
I thought the pod could only go 12 inches high. Really, yeah. I didn't know it could go 10 feet high.
Well, it flew way up through the city.
Inches.
Yeah, that pod is pretty impressive. Were you surprised when he did that?
I was surprised. I thought it could only go 12 inches.
Yeah, we'd always seen it just kind of hovering at that low level, and I think it could take off and go. A, it could go really fast, and then B, it was flew through the air way more effectively than I was expecting. So he goes to Bo-Katan, and she's about she comes out and she's all, you talked about her being grumpy, and she's all grumpy. She's like, I'm going to make him leave for good. But she goes and helps. So you're still not sure about her as a character because she's kind of uneven, but she does end up helping them.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you think? What's going on with her? You think that she's just disappointed that things haven't worked out?
She's disappointed.
Yeah, and she's actually a good person, or do you think she's got an agenda? What do you think's going on?
I think she just feels like she doesn't have enough pride, or like she isn't good enough.
Yeah, she hasn't been able to. She feels like she failed the people.
Like in connection to Avengers, like when Thor throws the Stormbreaker at Thanos. He was supposed to aim for the head, but he didn't. Then he was like stuck with like pain and misery. Feel like he could have done better. So then, guess what he does? Right off the bat, he cuts Thanos' head off.
Well, yeah, but he also we see him like in Endgame, and he didn't take care of himself, and he like got out of shape, and because he had failed. And I think you're right. I think that's a good comparison, because she feels like she failed her people. The reason Mandalore got destroyed, she should have done better. And so, yeah, I get that. I think that's a good thought. I hadn't really thought about the Thor thing of failing in that way, but that's a good idea. So she goes down, and like we talked about before, we see she has no problem using the Darksaber to defeat the little creature guy. But you don't think there's anything to that? I think there's got to be something to like why he can't use that sword, and everybody else seems to just pick it up and use it like it's no big deal.
And I'm surprised, like the suit it was in was able to was sharp enough to tie like the Darksaber. Yeah. I thought like if it just touched the thing and melt, the armor would melt. It has to be like metal, like super powerful or something. No.
So Shane says he thought the robot thing was creepy. Did you think it was creepy, or?
Yeah, it was creepy. Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah. It's like a spider thingy that like evolves, even though it's not a spider, it's a slug.
Yeah, it's like a little slug dude that's got mechanical suits. But yeah, it was kind of a spidery. When it first appears, it almost looks like a. Yeah. All right. So after she saves him, she takes him to. We get a whole lot of her talking about Mandalore and her parents and the fall of Mandalore. You said, I think before we started that, or maybe right at the beginning, that was some of your favorite stuff, getting the background on Mandalore. What about that did you like?
Well, I liked just seeing her father and like telling like the proudness, like to explain more about Mandalore, because maybe some people didn't really pay attention, or like to explain even more background that there already was, which kind of makes a show or a TV show or a movie like express more details to it.
Yeah, you just like getting more information for sure. Nice. So that brings us to the end. And so she takes him to the living waters, tells him the background story about the mythosaur. He falls in. She has to go in and save him. But what do we see? Put the Luke away. What did you? This was the part you said you wanted to talk about the most. What did we see at the end?
We saw like the shape. We saw its like head. We also saw its like back too.
Of what? What did we see though?
I forgot its name.
The mythosaur, the creature that is the emblem of Mandalore, like the skull that is the emblem of Mandalore. We see a mythosaur. What did you think? Were you excited? Did you think that was cool? What did you think of that?
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like a Star Wars kaiju thingy.
Yeah, Star Wars kaiju.
Yeah, like a Godzilla thingy in Star Wars.
So, suppose the story she tells right before he falls in and we see it is that the first Mandalorian found and tamed a mythosaur, and which is what started the whole Mandalorian culture. So, what do you think?
I think that's what Mando's like he's gonna do. Try to tame it somehow.
You think he's going to be like basically the founder of a new Mandalore? Is that what you think is going to happen?
Well, like the Darksaber thing, I feel like that's going to be the exact same thing that happens. He won't be able to contain it, but I also think that he will be the ruler or whatever.
You think ultimately he's going to be the new ruler of Mandalore, that they're all going to follow?
It's like a 50-50.
Yeah, 50-50? But you think that's where this is headed? Is the Mythosaur showing up? Is basically the sign that that the Mandalore is gonna be reestablished and brought back through the course of the season. All right. Anything you're looking forward to?
I have a connection.
Go ahead.
You know, like Boba Fett tamed what is it called?
The Rancor.
The Rancor, and it's gonna be kind of like the same concept with Mandalorian taming the
Mythosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if he tames the Mythosaur, then they're definitely gonna the Mandalorians are definitely gonna follow him at that point for sure. Yeah. So, is there things you want to talk about from these first 2 episodes before we talk about what you want to see in episode 3?
I don't think there's anything else really.
Okay. So what you like to give predictions? What do you think we're gonna see? Where do you think this is gonna go next? What's gonna happen?
I think they might introduce a new villain.
You think we're gonna get a new villain?
Yeah, like a big villain, not those schemy.
Not the
dumb pirates.
You want a villain that's better than the pirates for this season.
that's actually a threat. I mean, the pirates are like, hey, we're gonna destroy you. Like that's a big threat.
Yeah. No. I feel like the pirates are mostly just going to be an annoyance, not really a threat, like you said.
Yeah.
So what do you think they do next? Now that they know the Mythosaur exists, what do you think Bo-Katan, Grogu, Din Djarin, the Mandalorian are going to do now that they know?
I feel like there's going to be like back there, there's going to be something magical that happens, maybe a wall moves or something that leads to treasure or something.
The treasure?
Maybe, or something like that, and once he tames the Mythosaur.
So we're in National Treasure yet? He's going to find a treasure?
Yeah, something like that, or a wall opens and it leads to the rest of the water river thingy, and it leads him back to his ship.
Well, the ship is back on her planet or whatever, but yeah, so.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Because Grogu flew back with her. But, well, I think they're definitely going to they're going to use what they've found. Obviously, I think he's going to go back to try to take evidence back to get so he's no longer an apostate. And then I think, they're going to use the fact that they found a Mythosaur, or try to found a Mythosaur, the two of them, to rally the remaining Mandalorians. We'll see what happens, and I'm sure the pirates will stand in their way. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we end this tonight? From episodes 1 and 2. No? You don't have to. If you're done, we're good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right.
I don't think of anything else really. That's at least important.
That's important. All right. You think we covered all the important stuff? Well, that's
good.
All right. Well, I want to thank all the people that hung out with us in the chat. Mr. Shane, thank you for hanging out. Kenneth Bird, what's going on, my friend? Thank you. Brandon, what is going on? Matt, the Mick, what is happening? The Alchemist, my friend Unruly. We had John here earlier, and GT. Yeah. So thank all of you for hanging out with us tonight. We will be back at not sure what night we'll do this going forward, but we will be back.
Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll be back to talk episode 3, and we'll keep doing it. So
Derpy Luke.
Us and Derpy Luke are gonna get out of here.
Hi.
Later, everyone. Say goodbye.
Bye. Derpy Luke out.